So uncivilized.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Round of applause as always, everybody, for the best intro on YouTube. Sorry, I'm just calling it like it is. All right. It is what it is. It is the best. Hope everyone's doing well. Thank you for joining us here to yet another gathering of the Rule of Three. I don't know why I always default to a Palpatine type of voice when I go to do that. But
it's a good default. Good default.
I would hope so. Here we are once again to discuss, my gosh, what an episode of Ahsoka we got this time. My goodness, I love that. I love that this episode is just so absolutely bonkers, nuts, and wild. And I don't know about you guys. I'm just going to right off the bat, before I say anything even further and get into our general thoughts, I freaking love this episode.
Hey, all right.
Loved it. I'm sorry. I just can't. Normally, I wait to say, but I've been dying to say it. I've been dying to say it, especially at least to you guys. And now everybody knows. The world knows. And we'll get further into it and everything. But before we get any further, do us a favor, folks. If you haven't, click that like button. Like, seriously, go ahead. Click it.
Somewhere over here.
Click it. It's not my penis.
I'll wait. I'll wait. All right, no, I'm joking. But go ahead if you could do us the kind favor, right? We appreciate you being here and appreciate the fact that you like it. So go ahead and let us know that you like it and everything. And comment down below as far as in the live stream if you happen to be here live. If you're coming back and checking this on the replay, then appreciate that. Comment down below as what you thought about the episode. All right, gentlemen. We have some stuff to get into, right? Mr. Man of Movies and Mr. Fever Dreamland Theater. Goodness gracious, great balls of Star Wars. Did we have an episode of Star Wars this week? And I want to actually, this was an episode of Star Wars. I don't even really consider this just like an episode of Ahsoka. This felt like a true continuation and evolution of the Star Wars universe given to us via Ahsoka, right? Now, I'm just going off, on a tangent here. And I'm liking it more than everybody else. So I got to know, brothers, how do you feel? I'm going to start off, John, let me throw it to you. What are your thoughts on this episode?
I am going to say what I said in the group chat. I said, oof.
I've waited 2 days.
Now, what does that mean?
What that means?
What this means is that last week was not the best episode of Star Wars. It was the best episode of Ahsoka. Because this week was the best episode of Star Wars.
Baby! That's what I'm talking about.
See, I wasn't sure. I was incredible. Like, I don't know. This could go either way. Okay.
Incredible. Yeah. This should have just been called Star Wars Nothing because Ahsoka wasn't even in it.
I didn't even feel it. Like, I know she wasn't in it, but we got so much of her last week. So I wasn't bothered by that. That wouldn't be a nitpick of mine.
Anthony, I take it based on maybe that you also were fond of this episode?
Yeah. Yes. Overall, I definitely like it. I might have a couple of nerdy nitpicks that I'll throw out along the way, but overall, I'm super happy. I think they stuck the landing in terms of like finally introducing the big blue man. Thrawn is now officially in the Star Wars universe. It's exciting. I've been ranting about wanting a new villain, and I know he's not necessarily new because he's been around in the books and comics and stuff, and of course on the Rebels show. But it's great to finally have him there. I was pretty happy with him overall, and pretty happy with the episode overall. So I think we're all in good spirits on this one. That's good. And there's so much to talk about, right?
Indeed. Definitely. And oh my gosh, what a relief to find out that it was the positive oof. Whew. Where I was. I thought maybe John was going to come out here and just be like, "Man, what a way to ruin everything!" And oh my gosh, why'd they do that to Ezra? And or something like that. So no, I'm really happy that we seem to be on a similar wavelength with this as we happen to get started. Now, before kind of diving into this any more particularly as we go to break this down, just want to at least say what's up to those of us that are kind enough to be here live. It looks like we do got a few people. Eric, I could see that you're down in there, man. Appreciate you being here. He says, sup, guys? Honestly, like this in some ways as much as the last two episodes, but did lull eventually. Unfortunately, I'll admit. Well, we may differ in opinions on that, but hey, all due respect, man, because that's more than fine. I'm still glad you really liked it, especially if you feeling it's on par with the last two episodes, which, Yeah, that's a fair assessment there, in my opinion. So good to have you here, man. Thank you. Looks like we also got our fellow, the Upside Dan, fellow Cinema Squad member, Screw Jace, offense intended. Sorry, just threw me off because I wasn't expecting that to be the comment. But you know what, Dan? It's all good, man. It's all good. It's all good, brother. It's all good.
Should we ban him from the chat at this point?
Nah, we'll just throw out a good screw you two and we'll call it a day.
Perfect.
Also, it looks like I always wonder, and I apologize if I'm saying this name, Sire Speed, right?
I believe that's it. Yeah, it's Eric.
Speed.
Or
Good
Eric,
stuff. Good stuff. Sire Speed Reviews. What up, fellas? What up, man? Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. All right. And then also to get this kicked off, I felt like in a very good official manner, we've been doing a nice job with giving people like the description of the episode. Believe we have so again, correct?
Let's go.
Ooh, look at that paragraph, everybody. Thank you, good old. Thank you, Wikipedia. All right, everyone. So, episode 6 of Ahsoka, Far, Far Away. In the distant galaxy, the Eye of Sion arrives on Peridia, the ancient homeworld of Elsbeth's people, the Dathmiri. Elsbeth, Skull, Hati, and Ren meet the Great Mothers, Night Sisters allied with Thrawn. As they wait for the Grand Admiral's arrival, Skull relates to Hati his belief that the fall of the Jedi and the rise of the Empire were part of an inevitable cycle, and his hope is that the alliance with Thrawn will break the cycle. Thrawn arrives with his flagship, the Chimera, and honors Skull's promise by providing Ren with provisions and the latest intelligence on Bridger's whereabouts. After Ren leaves, Thrawn sends Skull and Hati to follow her so they can kill both her and Bridger, but later admits to Elsbeth that escaping his exile was his main goal. Surviving on an ambush by bandits. Did I say that right? Yep. Surviving an ambush by bandits when Ren encounters the native Noti. I'm not too sure if that's right. Noti? I hope it's Nati, just because it's close to Naughty. When Ren encounters the native Naughty and follows them to their village, where she reunites with Bridger. The Great Mothers warn Thrawn that a Jedi is coming with the Purgle. Thrawn deduces that Ahsoka is alive, demanding all the details of her history from Elsbeth, and asks the Great Mothers to use their powers to aid him.
Oof. It's a heavy episode. A lot going on.
Sorry, I tried to do that in like one clear flowing thing, and then just anyway, so it's a lot that this episode gave us, that's for sure. And my goodness, I loved just about every single ounce itty bit of it. So basically kicking off with the very beginning of the episode, I don't want to look past the little bit of Ahsoka that we do get, because I actually thought it was really cool. Specifically, this conversation with her and Hu Yang was something that was a really nice way of like poking the fourth wall that Star Wars really doesn't normally do, but was done, I thought, in like a genuine, believable, and cool way, where Hu Yang is basically trying to tell stories of the past. I love that he mentions how, there's the Stories of the Galaxy parts 1, 2, and 3. Ahsoka's like, clearly part 1's the best. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like that was Dave Filoni's way of just sneaking in a little bit of a, hey, the original trilogy is where it's at. And then I love the fact that when she wants him to tell the story, he literally starts off with what is the crawl of every Star Wars in a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And then we see that the episode's called Far, Far Away. Did I think that was it just me that thought that was cool? What do you guys think?
That's something that could have easily been kind of like cringe or like, oh no, we're doing this, but yet it was beautiful. It was fun. I was happy with it. Or should I say blue teeful, because Thrawn is in this. We're not gonna do lame dad puns this episode. I was happy to. It is cool. It would have been nice to see a little more of it, but we got, like you said, we got so much more going on in this episode. So
yeah, I liked it as well. I think it was very nice. I think out of all the characters in Star Wars, not even Ahsoka, Hu Yang is the perfect one to give such a line to. He's been around for about 25,000 years. I double checked that. So about 25,000 years. He's the oldest thing in Star Wars. So what better character to start telling you the story of the history within our universe than this robot a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I would love that if the day that Star Wars decides to have a definitive ending, which we know will never happen, but just hypothetically speaking, if we find out it was just Hugh Wang telling these stories to some children or something.
Oh man,
Yeah.
almost like a How I Met Your Mother situation.
Yeah.
Except it's Hu Yang. Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. I like that. Well, I definitely thought it was really cool. And the last point I wanted to make about it was the fact that it ties really nicely back to, I think it was Star Wars Celebration of 1 year. It was either last year or the year before. Forgive me, I can't remember. But Dave Filoni was on stage, and everyone was like crying out, like, "Where's Ezra? Where's Ezra?" And he was saying, he's like, "I know where Ezra is. Do you want me to tell you?" And everyone's like, "Of course we do." And so he's like, "Far, far away."
Ooh.
That was his answer. And then where do we get Ezra's return? In the episode titled Far, Far Away. I just thought, what a cool, like, you son of a bitch, you did that. You did that.
He's been hammering
respect.
away at this for a long time. It must be fun to finally air this episode and get to this series, because this guy's probably been hammering away at this for years and refining the story. So man, I can't. This was like a year ago that he said that.
I believe so. It was either a year or further back. So, it's something where, yeah, he's known for a while.
Wow.
But yeah, what a great way to kind of bring it to life here. And so once we go past that, kind of, Anthony, you were hinting at this before. That's the last that we see of Ahsoka in this episode. Now, I heard a rumor about that. I purposely never really said much of anything because it kind of sounded like it was on shaky grounds that I heard that. But I heard that it was like somebody made the comment, "Yo, Ahsoka's about to be Book of Boba Fetted in episode 6. In other words, they were just saying like another character is about to take over her show. And I don't really think that's the case.
Yeah.
I actually think that this still feels completely encapsulated within her story, whereas the Mandalorian episodes that we got in Book of Boba Fett truly just felt like episodes of The Mandalorian shoehorned into Book of Boba Fett. But this was something where I really didn't, in the best of ways, it is really in no negative sense towards Ahsoka. I did not miss her for the entirety of this episode. And it really is something where it's not just because, we've gotten so much of her throughout the show. I just think they did such a damn good job of keeping us invested in all of these other characters and giving Thrawn his fair time to shine, as opposed to just almost like a quick glance, hello, how's it going, and goodbye. Which is one of those things where I really want to kind of jump around at a few things, but I almost can't help but jump straight into Thrawn.
Yeah.
I swear, one thing, man, is I watched this episode a couple of times now, and I'm really, really, I feel it's fair to say pretty critical on some things. I'm not afraid to call stuff out if it ain't that good. I really don't understand where someone could be coming from to be ridiculing his performance of Thrawn in this particular instance. And I say that because I've already seen I've seen some people that strictly are talking about like more so body shaming because, they're like, damn, Thrawn's got a gut. But at the same time, I am more than willing to forgive that because it's the same guy who does the voice of Thrawn in the show, and he brings everything I would hope into live action. Once again, I'm analyzing this performance, guys, and I can't seem to detect where someone has the nerve to be like, oh, the show botched Thrawn. This is what a terrible live action introduction.
Wow.
Because was it just me? I legitimately I had damn near goosebumps when it was the night troopers chanted Thrawn.
Listen. Vader nor Palpatine had stormtroopers chanting their name as they would enter the Death Star.
Yeah.
But Thrawn did.
Thrawn's introduction was amazing.
That's what I'm saying. I think Thrawn's introduction is up there as to villain reveals, character reveals in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Incredible. When you see the Chimera looming over, rattling the whole planet. We think it's Sabine for a second. Very easily, we find out it's not Sabine, it's the Chimera. As it slowly descends onto that pillar, and the night troopers in line chanting Thrawn. Thrawn. How can you have nothing but good things to say?
And even that term, night troopers, I didn't know what a night trooper was last week. Now I'm in fucking love with night troopers.
Yeah.
Who's the dude with the mask too? We have to get into it.
Yeah, man.
What was that? Yes, thank you. Yes, and boy, a lot of like biblical references and
I got theories about these night troopers, who they may be, what they may be all about,
and night sisters.
I wonder if we're on similar pages then, because I also have some thoughts as to who the heck these new night troopers may be. Also, Enoch is Starkiller. Let's just get it out of the way. Come on, guys, right?
I was thinking that. I was like, oh, here we go again with all the fan theories.
Listen,
I think we should learn from the past and be like, this is just a guy.
Come on.
No, I think I just think it's a new character.
No, I think Enoch is Marok.
Enoch is who? Is who?
Enoch? No, see, it's Enoch. Enoch is Marok's brother, and when he finds out that Marok died, he's gonna be like, yo, I got way bigger issues with you than you thought. Now you killed my bro like that. That's my bro. Marok and Enoch.
Ooh, I like it. If they were actually bros. Yeah.
I know. I mean, it just by namesake, it fits. So anyway, I thought again, the same thing as you guys. A badass introduction. This was absolutely phenomenal to see him brought in like this, and again, the performance is just so on point. When I first watch it, I don't know why. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe it's just because like the first time through, you're perhaps, dare I say, looking at things in a different perspective, like than you would when you go back and you can appreciate it. We always say that, right? You go back and you can kind of appreciate things differently when you watch it after a couple of times. So my first time, it was kind of like, all right, no, I really like this. Like I'm digging it a lot. But I don't know. I mean, it's tough. It's weird. And it's like, maybe it's just because I've never seen him in live action. And then the second time through, I was like, nope, I'm sold. Dude, this is, oh my God, I love this so much. Like, I don't even know why I was hesitating in the first place, even remotely. I absolutely loved what he did with Thrawn. His presence, the way he composes himself, his mannerisms, his speech pattern is just all so on point and intimidating for what it needs to be. Excuse me. He absolutely kind of plays and fits the part of what you would expect to kind of be the new big bad. Now, you would always hope that big bads are physically intimidating as well. I'm just going to throw it out there. Did you guys seem to have any sort of issue as far as with like, the fact that maybe he looks like he ate well past couple years?
No, brother, come on. It's been almost 10 years since the last time we saw Thrawn. I'm all for development more than just character-wise, physically too, man. If he's a little bigger, he's a little bigger. It's been 10 years, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. It's the same character. It's the same voice actor. He portrays it just as well as he does it in Rebels. I'll say even better in this one episode. That opening line is incredible. He goes, what was once a dream will become a frightening reality to those who may oppose us. Come on. Stop going so hard.
The first line out of his mouth, man. And the way he's so meticulously analyzing every single thing that's going on. Yeah. Like I absolutely I love when, he finds out that they brought a prisoner, and he's like, he wasn't expecting that, which is I love his reaction to that, because right, he knows everything usually, or is so like so many steps ahead of stuff. So it's like, why is there an element that I wasn't aware of? And then I love when like Balin says, he steps up and he's like, oh, I brought her because I thought she could be of some use to us. And the way he just instantly goes over and who are you? Right. And the way, like Balin Skull, and he's just like, so you must be General Balin Skull, and like instantly knows who he is. Like, what a Thrawn thing, dude, to just like know 100% of just like, okay, so I know you, Jedi. And I just, the way he breaks down situations is phenomenal. Yes. Anthony, did you get a chance? You saw all of Rebels, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
I on the first run, I haven't had a chance to go back and rewatch it. I always did, but yeah, when that show was on, I was pretty much watching the whole. I watched it all the way through. To answer your question,
nice. So, do you also feel like this is a very on-point Thrawn? Is this everything that you kind of would hope for?
Yeah, absolutely. I had like no issues with it as far as just his appearance. Yeah, okay. I noticed. Yeah, a little bit of a belly. Okay, I'm nobody to talk when it comes to that department. it's fine. I mean, in animation, people tend to be slimmer. They're stylized. They have like a thinner face or whatever, sharper lines. It's just we're going from one medium to another. It's totally fine. It's more about what you guys have already mentioned, like what's in what like the deliverance, how he delivered his lines, the performance, the presence that he had, and what like I just can't but help. I can't help wonder like what does this guy have in store? Like what is his master plan? And I don't want to jump ahead too much, but like we have Ezra on the same planet. Is he aware of Ezra? There's other things going on. I feel like there's like a bigger picture, and he's doing a good enough job that I'm already thinking like what you guys have said. It feels like he's 2 or 3 steps ahead of everybody. So the show's pulling it off. It already feels like he's 2 or 3 steps ahead of everybody, and I feel like he's gonna get back to he's gonna get back to like familiar territory and just freaking raise hell. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. I'm just wondering what exactly he has in store. I'm starting to piece things together because it seems like he has an undead army. It seems like he's aligned with the Night Sisters. So how does this all kind of fit together? So I don't know, but I'm excited.
I definitely feel like part of it is that the Night Troopers, I feel like I mean, I think that like Zabrak, so the same species that Darth Maul is, and Savage Opress from Clone Wars and everything. I'm sorry, Rebels, yeah, right, Rebels, Clone Wars, no, Clone Wars. Gosh, I was
Clone Wars,
yeah. Maul's in Rebels, but Savage was in Clone Wars, so forgive me. So anyway, their species, they're kind of like the Night Brothers, if you will. So I'm believing, or I'm theorizing, I guess, that it's perhaps just them, like a bunch of dead Zabrak that are like basically in those put together stormtrooper suits, something along those lines. But I do believe that no matter what species they are, that it's literally just a bunch of like zombified stormtroopers that have been brought back via Night Sister magic. And I'm really curious because, you know, there seems to be, Balin mentions a line as far as that they may be fleeing from that galaxy from a power that's greater than their own. And that seems like it's definitely got to be the case, because otherwise, why would the Night Sisters be willing to assist Thrawn like this? You know, they seem to be desperate to leave. Shin makes a comment about that too. She's like, they seem desperate to get out of here. Shouldn't we get out of here? And I think that points all the more to a theory that, you know, I had brought up before a couple weeks back where it was talking about, I think that Thrawn, the reason he's trying to start the Empire back up is because he knows that there is a threat on the horizon that's bigger than anybody is able and willing to handle. So he's started up already what he has, the little bit of the Night Sister army. He wants to go back, create and rebuild the Empire and be prepared for this looming threat that's coming from this other galaxy.
Yeah, I could see that. Definitely now after this episode, I think I can agree with that.
Yeah, I mean that would certainly still fit in going forward. But at the end of the day, he'd still. I feel like he's still positioned. He still wants to be the new emperor. He'd still want to be the one in charge. If at the end of the day they're battling a larger threat, it's like, yeah, sure, we're battling a larger threat. But at the end of the day, Thrawn wants to still be in charge.
Concerning the Night Troopers. Concerning the Night Troopers as well, I think that's why we get that reveal we do with Marok in episode 4, when he was just a gust of green, whatever it is, cloud. Yeah. It's because these are what these Night Troopers are as well. They're the undead, right?
You think they're all just smoke?
I do, and I think Star Wars does this a lot. At least Disney Star Wars has done this a lot ever since Mandalorian. Like they don't. The good guys, Jedi especially, don't kill actual people. Like Luke, for example, in the finale for Mandalorian season 2, kills robots, and Ahsoka also kills a lot of the HK droids in the beginning of this season. So I'm gonna guess that whenever it's time to wreck some Night Troopers, it's not gonna be just blood and guts. It's gonna be green mist, just like floating away and them farting everywhere.
even Bad Batch. Now that you mention it, John, you're on. So I don't know if you got into Bad Batch too much, but they were using stun. They were using stun guns in Bad Batch as well. So yeah, you're right. That's a Disney thing.
Yeah, so that's
Which
what
is
I
really
think.
weird because I mean, in the sequel trilogy, don't they just straight up shoot stormtroopers?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like they kill,
Yeah.
So what's that seems weird.
Maybe it's more fair to say it's a Disney TV series thing.
Maybe,
than
yeah, maybe.
more
But
so.
actually, no, I think that's way better than as far as what I was getting onto, as far as being like a resurrected species per se. I could still see that, but I agree. I think that perhaps like Marak was just a way to show us like, hey, guess what? This whole army of night troopers is smoke.
Fart
It's
bags.
bro, it's literally Thrawn bringing the smoke. Y'all don't want this smoke, bro. Y'all don't want Thrawn smoke. I'm telling you.
I want the smoke. I want the smoke.
Oh man. Well, I'll tell you, one thing that I also want to mention, and we'll probably get back to Thrawn for sure. It's hard not to. And there's different stuff in the episode where he had popped
We got
up.
a lot of them this episode.
Oh God, I loved it, man. I'm so happy that it was like that they
Like,
gave us the amount they did,
yeah.
and that they're probably gonna give us a
Yeah.
good amount with the next couple episodes. I would say most likely, right? Maybe not as much as this, but a decent amount. But dude, you know what I thought was great that I want to give a little bit of love here real quick and ask your guys' opinion on? We were treated to a scene that was way better than it deserved to be. And it was with Balin and Shin when they were just standing around. Bro, what the? I literally sat there and I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, what is happening right now? Why is this scene so damn good? If I didn't already like those characters so much, I have a whole nother level of the way that I looked at them now. It's incredibly different. I don't know why, but John, your analogy of Balin being the dark side Qui-Gon has literally become so much more to fruition episode by episode by episode. And this one just being another really like true showcasing of it. And honestly, with that, I keep feeling like Shin is not quite so much a dark side Obi-Wan. I wouldn't go that far, but there's certain things that remind me of the relationship between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan as Master and Padawan that seem to be also reflected here with Balin and Shin. And I love it, man. I love the fact that Balin's dead set on this mission and how mesmerized he is by this new world because of the fact that it's like a children's story brought to life. And equally, did you guys pick up on the fact that Shin seems to be like not questioning him outright, but kinda like it seems like she's kind of like, I don't really know what you're trying to do here anymore, my guy.
Yeah, I like how you said outright, because I don't think she's questioning him outright, but I think she's definitely maybe just questioning her place in all of this.
Yeah.
It's a very confusing time. There's a lot of questions being asked. They're in another galaxy. These were, like you said, children's stories. So what is happening right now? So I see that. I'm loving Shin every time she gets time on screen. It's to the point where her dilemma makes me believe that I could believably see her turning to the light side.
Mm-hmm. I know, and which is weird because I thought the opposite at first. I thought if anything, like, for some reason Balin would be like, I don't know, maybe, and then Shin would be the one to just be straight up evil. I agree with you, man.
Yeah. I feel like Balin, like I feel like if Shin goes master, like I don't know if I agree with this. I don't know. Like I feel like Balin wouldn't even be angry. I feel like Balin would be like, this is what I wanted to do. You're disappointing me, but I'm gonna let you do what you need to do. Again, like Balin is the Qui-Gon, but dark side wise. But we gotta remember, man, the dark side is also the Force, right? Wouldn't we think the dark side is equally as good as the light side?
No, absolutely. Well, and then Anthony, let me ask you this to narrow it down specifically, instead of being like kind of so broad with it. Balin seems to be set, as we saw in the description of the episode and then just watching the episode. He's very adamant about mentioning that he almost has like a Kylo Ren type of line where, he's like, I want to break the cycle, instead of it like continuing where Jedi rise and then Empire and Jedi. What do you think he's getting at when he's like, I want to find the beginning to end the cycle?
Yeah, I wish I knew. It seems like he had to come here. He had to do this traveling to get there. I'm not quite sure. It's fascinating me. I'm not quite sure what he means, and I'm wondering how it it must. He's obviously when you notice when she mentioned like, do you miss the Jedi? Do you miss the Jedi? And he says something along the lines of like, I miss the idea of the Jedi. So it's like he's just so bitter toward the Jedi. So I get his motivations. I feel like now I'm starting to understand him a lot more. My God, what a breakout character he is.
But
as far as the long-term plans, yeah, if you have a theory, I'm happy to. I'm just eager to see where it goes. But I'm gonna probably jump on John's bandwagon in a second. What do you
only because I'm not too sure. But can I guess your theory?
Oh yeah, let's see.
Okay. So John brought up before that Balin maybe would look to, instead of like keep it where it's just 2 for the Sith, if they even would be Sith, right? But he more so said to start up like an order, like not just like don't just keep it 2, like, you know, make a like how there's a Jedi order, essentially make like a Sith. And I feel like maybe he's trying to say like, instead of like sticking in this old galaxy where it's just like the wheel keeps spinning, how about we start fresh over here and just rule shit, and we're gonna find some other Force sensitive people and bring them to our cause.
That would fit in line because he says he wants to go back to the beginning. That fits in line, right?
Well, and then he would like, you know, when he's saying like the idea of the order, but not what it was, like, you know, he might be able to make the order the way he sees fit.
Ooh, yeah. Not my theory.
Yet
a very good theory, and I think a lot more believable. You know, if we're not going to see Balin or Shin again, that's why. Maybe they're still on Peridia, you know, and they did end up creating this order, and that's it. And that's it. I have a theory just because I'm just trying to connect this all to the sequel trilogy.
Okay.
And I seriously feel, because of the vibes that Balin has given me since the beginning, which is what kind of vibes? Like a knight.
Oh no.
And what if the order that he's trying to build is a prototype Knights of Ren?
Oh, god damn it.
Yes. And him and Shin are the first 2 into the newly creative Knights of Ren. And possibly we can fix this around however we want to. That higher power calling out to him is Snoke.
I'm glad you brought that up too, because he mentioned something about a power too. And we do need to get.
But then isn't it just the Emperor?
So I was gonna say this. Snoke is just the Emperor, right? So through these means, the Emperor was able to get all the good that is within Balin, even the dark good, and manipulate it just like any Sith would. And eventually the Knights of Ren, which started with promise, would become what we see in the sequel trilogy, all kind of destroyed and manipulated because of Palpatine.
In ways I dislike that so much, and yet it's so believable.
For me, it's more just like, oh Jesus Christ, I don't want it to go back to Palpatine again. Like, I'm so happy to just have Thrawn there now, but just
I know,
separate from all that. And I'm a huge fan of Palpatine. Don't get me wrong.
But we don't even find out about. Remember, Anthony, we don't find out about Palpatine till Rise of Skywalker, so we don't need to even straight out say it's Palpatine.
Yeah,
but you know what? And damn it, I don't want to feed into the theory, but all right, look, do it. So the reason why maybe that might be onto something is, number one, let's like not get it twisted here. If you really want to compare and contrast, Balin's outfit does look very much prototype Knight of Ren like. So there's that
Game of Thrones vibe with
there's totally that.
That too.
I would be curious as far as like where the whole concept of like Knights of Ren would, you know, like the Ren, where would that come from, you know? But hey, that put to the side. You know, in the sequel trilogy, they make it pretty damn clear that it's like basically impossible to get to Exegol unless you have that, you know, map, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's because it's in a different fucking galaxy or something.
You read my mind. You read my mind.
Like maybe the galaxy that Peridia is in, you know, or something.
there may
Like
or may
maybe
not be
Exegol's the next
comics.
planet over. I'm sorry, Anthony. Go ahead.
No. I was gonna say, to John's point, there may or may not be comics that go into the origins of the Knights of Ren. In which case, I don't know. Then I don't know what to do. But I don't know. I'm just saying. I feel like I've seen comics floating around out there, but it might have just been about the early days of the Knights of Ren. Maybe the origin hasn't been established. In which case, John's theory could fit.
Well, and look, let's be honest here. Even if it's not like, even if Kylo's Knights of Ren, are not directly connected, it ain't the first time that he's kind of taken something in homage from someone else. Like, did he need the mask? No, he did it because Vader did it. Did he maybe start the Knights of Ren? No, maybe he's like, yo, this badass dude who used to be a Jedi and now is a who knows what. He started, and I'm just like, that's really cool, man. So I'm gonna put on a granddad mask. I'm gonna call my dudes the Knights of Ren, and sequel trilogy, baby.
I heard some people say that some of the bandits that Balin and Shin are looking at before it cuts to the next scene, their helmets are reminiscent of some of the Knights of Ren.
Okay.
Oh God,
I'd have to go rewatch, but okay.
So he's just gonna gather together a bunch of bandits and make them the Knights of Balin, and then sometimes they're just gonna somehow mistranslate it and just Knights of Ren, Knights of Ren, and then
it's just an accent. Yeah, it's the accent, the Peridian accent.
Where do the turtle people fit into this? Is my question.
That's
great transition. Great.
We got more cute Star Wars creatures.
Yeah. I don't, at first I wasn't like 100% sure. Like when the first one popped up, I was like, I don't know. I could take this or leave this, but they quickly, they won me over. I thought it was definitely a nice addition. I had no issue with it. It felt very Star Warsy. They could have taken it into a little bit of more of like a too childish direction. I'm so happy they didn't, right? It was just kind of goofy enough, if you will. So yeah, I like the little. Are they like turtle, crab, lobster?
Yeah, like turtle, crab thing. We have to remember, man. We've had years of Ewoks. It fits in with that. It fits in with the Mandalorian gave us the little lizard lady, right? So it fits in that. We kind of forget that Star Wars can kind of go more into the, I don't want to say kiddie, but fantasy, area, and then we get these little kind of fun characters like that. But I don't know, we maybe as adults we prefer the badass, sword fighting and all that kind of stuff.
Can I put out a quick question to you guys?
Yeah.
Do we think that the little rock is that actually a shell, or is that something removable? Because how do the Noti then put clothes on?
They have the clothes. I saw somebody ask that in Reddit, and I was like, "Oh, you just ruined turtle people for me." How do they?
Maybe it is a removable shell or something. That'd be weird if it could. Yeah, I don't know.
It would have to. How do they put clothes on?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. That's hilarious.
She had a 4-piece suit on.
That is hilarious.
That planet is a wasteland. Where are they shopping anyway?
It really is.
I don't know.
Wasteland, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, let's see. Hold on. I know it's a little jumping all over the place here. Apologies, because I had a bunch of subjects that I wanted to bring up, and just none of them were in a particular order.
3 is what we did.
There was something that I wanted to bring up. It was almost something that I guess some people could probably just be like, yeah, whatever. Like the design of a team's jersey. Some people could just be like, dude, whatever. And then other people would be like, dang, dude, you see like their jerseys this game? That was dope. Bro, the Night Troopers design and then Enoch's design. I wanted to go back and at least talk about that, and as well as the Chimera itself. So did you guys notice as far as like the blend in of the all the gold incorporated into the Chimera, and then of course the gold into the Night Trooper suits, and how they all look like they're pieced together and everything like that? And I love how it's not uniform. Like they all kind of look different and everything like that. And then Enoch's design is super badass. Absolutely love it.
When he turned around, he did that turnaround. His introduction was like, oh shit, what is this? I don't know that we've ever seen that in Star Wars. That's am I right? Like a stormtrooper with like a gold medal,
like
face?
A face plate. Yeah. And you know what it reminded? It gave me vibes of like the movie 300 made by Zack Snyder.
There you go. Yeah.
Like, and it just epically dope. I mean, but what do you guys think? Do you like the new designs? Because I've never like wanted Star Wars figures for the longest time since I was probably a kid. And I'm like, yo, Give me a Night Trooper figure and an Enoch figure, please.
Yeah,
a hot
at least
toy, Enoch hot toy.
some
Sure.
Funko bobbleheads or something like that. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think it's a killer design. I've always loved the Stormtrooper design, and I love that like we've been able to get so much from it, the Clone Troopers and all of these different divisions. It's awesome. And this is just like another edition. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, God damn, they're doing it again. Wow. Like it's just a badass design. Happy with it, man. Let's fucking kick ass.
Yeah, I know that apparently fixing things up with gold goes all the way back to Japanese culture.
Yeah,
I think more specifically like samurai culture.
Yes.
And it's crazy looking at Enoch, and his mask is all gold. And it's very reminiscent of like one of those samurai masks that samurai used to wear. I don't think it's kabuki. I think that's the wrong word for it. But you know what I mean when I say that, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I agree. I totally get the samurai vibes as well. It blends in perfectly. I mean, that's George Lucas based like the Jedi and Sith, the whole lightsaber duels and all that type of stuff. There's so much influence from samurai stuff within the Jedi and then within Mandalorian stuff as well. It's like it's all a blend of like samurai and Western type of stuff that happens to be put together. So I love that it continues within here, and doesn't it kind of make you wonder, like, I guess the same way that we can ask, how did these little crab people put their clothes on with the shells? Where did all of this excess broken stormtrooper armor come from?
Maybe it was in the ship.
Yeah, well, my like,
and then what all the
like he had a lot of his. Is that a lot of his army died, or like he lost a lot of them along the way? Because the Purgles, if my memory's a little fuzzy, they attached themselves and they messed up the Chimera on en route to this new galaxy, right? In which case, I'm imagining that over the course of 10 years, we don't even know what else they've been through. Maybe they've had like 50 battles with some other species or something like that in the meantime and got wiped out. And along the way, the Night Sisters came in and resurrected them, pieced them together. And I love all of that. It certainly looks like they've been like just strung back together and all patched together. I can't wait to see like when a few of them start getting like killed, we're going to see that green fart smoke again. I think it's great for an interesting visual.
No, absolutely.
Fart smoke everywhere.
It definitely, especially if they keep it the same style as like how it happened with Marak. I definitely think that will look cool.
And what was the animated series where we actually technically saw that first? It was
Clone Wars.
It was Ahsoka. Was it like it was like a recent? Was it Jedi Tales or something like that? Ahsoka fought an enemy and they like sort of deflated or something. It was a very similar thing, but not quite along the lines of like turning into green mist. It was there was an episode of like very recently they did like a Clone Wars type thing, and they showed Ahsoka when she was younger, and at some point she has a back.
I don't think it was Tales of the Jedi then, because I think she ends up cutting the Inquisitor's head off or something.
That's what I'm thinking of, the Inquisitor battle, and then that Inquisitor doesn't he like melt or something like that?
I don't think so. Okay. No.
So the first time really was with in this show when we saw that green smoke.
Live action wise, but because we do see that in Clone Wars a lot. But I think it's very realistic to think that these are just undead clone troopers that belong to Thrawn's allegiance. The Chimera is humongous. We're really going to believe it was just Thrawn and Ezra on there before they took off of the Purgo?
No, that's a good point. And yeah, the fact of just them kind of all like getting shredded to pieces, as far as within this travel, that makes sense. I could totally buy into that for sure. I did find it unique because obviously they make a point to not just show that these pieces of armor are all scrapped together and everything, but they actually even kind of indirectly go out of their way to showcase that their numbers may be limited. There's that one scene where, they are basically Thrawn's telling Enoch, like, hey, when Balin gives word, send 2 squads out and just go ahead and help kill Sabine and Ezra. Which I love that, by the way. I love that Thrawn's like, oh yeah, just go ahead, just go. It's fine, just go. I'm gonna send some mercenaries afterwards to kill you and your friend once you find him. But the whole purpose is when he says 2 squads, I love how Morgan Elsbeth is like, oh, shouldn't you send more? And the pause. This is what I mean like with that performance. When I was analyzing his performance, is just I absolutely love the little pause he gives where he just like stares at her and kind of like, himself takes in the situation, and I feel like he hesitates because maybe he doesn't like the fact that he's more so underprepared, if you will. But I just love how he admits, like during this exile, our numbers have dwindled, so 2 squads will suffice. But I think it just ties right into the whole, like, right, having to rummage together all this armor and everything like that, and having to rummage together like souls or some shit, I guess. I don't know, whatever you want to call like these things are.
Well, also what I like about that is that he specifically says go and kill. He sends them out to go and kill Sabine and Ezra. So he says it like that, right? The reason why I'm bringing that up is because I saw a few people theorizing, like, is that really Ezra at the end, or is it like Night Sister magic? At which point I was like, oh no, God, I hope not.
Ezra.
But the fact that Thrawn gave that order pretty much solidified. Why else would he give that order, right? So
that was definitely Ezra Christ, because he looked just like Jesus.
Oh, dude, seriously. That was the picture that they shared on the Star Wars Instagram page. It just straight up he might as well just be called like Ezra Christ.
I don't want to jump ahead, but are we shipping them too? Because I'm seeing a lot of people are Sabine and Ezra. That is
shipping them. What do you mean?
Like are
they gonna get jiggy with it?
Are they gonna do this?
Are they gonna use the Force?
I don't know, because I believe that there was always a brother-sister sort of relationship between the two of them, and I've seen some people saying, well, I don't know, they seem a little more close than that, but then again, brothers and sisters in Star Wars, that's
I know, that's right.
Anyway, so it doesn't matter. I would like to see them get together myself. I think they make a lovely couple.
Same. I never outright believed that they were a brother or sister relationship like that. I always felt the tension in Rebels, and then when they started this series, like, he's like my best friend or whatever. No, he's like a boyfriend to you. Stop lying. Stop lying. I've seen Rebels.
She's traveled across the galaxy to get this to meet this dude.
For that dick.
Damn, Ezra, what did he do?
I must say, guys, I'm curious about your thoughts. We talked about Thrawn and his introduction. I love Ezra Bridger, but I thought his introduction was like Marok, a big wet fart, as much as I loved seeing him.
Wow, okay.
Yep.
Oh, man.
I loved seeing Ezra. I was happy.
Yeah.
You could ask my wife. When I saw him, I said, yes, Ezra. Yeah. But I think it was a big wet fart of an introduction. I thought it was anticlimactic.
Maybe this is like overanalyzing it on my part, because I totally see where you're coming from, actually. And I almost feel like, dare I say, that was slightly intentional. Not to like make it an underwhelming thing, but think about this. You got 2 big live action debuts in this episode, and it's not just so much live action debuts in general, but it's 2 debuts that we've been hinting at both of these characters the entire series. I almost feel like it was a yin to the yang, or an interesting mirroring of situations, that you have Thrawn has the biggest, most epic, everyone's chanting his name as he's coming in, he's got people, soldiers surrounding him and everything like that, and just this grand epic entrance. And then you got some crab people just chilling out, where all of a sudden, like, Ezra pops out from the side, and it's
let's
like,
keep in mind. I'm sorry. Go. Please finish.
No. What's up? Keep in mind what?
No, I was gonna say we had no idea where he was, and now we know he's been chilling with crab people. So there's also even that revelation in of itself. Is a little like,
and just the fact that they kind of kept it like almost again intentionally subtle and low key and chill in comparison to this grand entrance that was given to Thrawn. I don't know if maybe that's like really what their intention was. If it was, I don't know if that was the right choice. But I don't know, John. I mean, what do you think? Do you feel like that's a fair assessment there?
A perfect assessment. I think that's why I was so underwhelmed.
Would you have rather had a heroic reintroduction, because Sabine had a battle where she was like outnumbered and she was kind of screwed over? He could have stepped in it, like maybe a green lightsaber comes out of nowhere and boom, oh shit, it's Ezra back and he's saving her. And
Sabine's got Ezra's lightsaber.
True.
What was that? Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. She has said that's right. Yeah.
Here's my thing.
Force, he gets it back, and then he. There we go. I saved
this.
The thing that I said.
This episode was very smart, Dave Filoni, I think this might be the best script of this series was episode 6 from Dave Filoni. He's written every episode so far. And yet there is one thing, one flaw that I couldn't get past is how they've been here for 10 years. My question would then be, did Thrawn just give up on finding Ezra? Because Sabine did it in 10 minutes.
I don't know. Is it sort of like a Vader Obi-Wan thing? Because that series seemed to establish that now Vader knows Obi-Wan's out there. He knows he's alive. He had a final battle with him, blah, blah, blah. We get the whole mask thing. And Obi-Wan isn't even really in hiding so much. That's what I feel like. Did they already have it out? They've done their thing. And he's just like, I don't know. Okay, there he is. All right, I'll go.
Like, get out of my way. I'll get out of your way.
I don't know, man. It's tough because we have to fill in all of this story. There's still some annoying things that I feel like we should know. We don't.
No, but that is fair to say because, like, think of it this way. I mean, Ezra might just be realistic about it. He might be like, dude, you're making deals with Night Sisters. You got zombies that are your soldiers. Like, bro, I can't keep up with this. I don't got my lightsaber on me. You know what I mean? Like, I got the Force, but I can't take on an army of this stuff. So maybe he realistically was just like, I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna fall back. I'm gonna wait for my peoples to come. And then I'm gonna come after you. And maybe Thrawn was like, yeah, bet. Go ahead. Right. Yeah. I'll be waiting, man. And maybe I'll say this, maybe if that's really how it is, and Thrawn's almost just kind of like flicked the thought of Ezra to the side. Perhaps he just sees this as now as an opportunity of like, okay, yeah, what's that? You're gonna go find him? Let's take this as an opportunity to kill this little shit. Right? Yeah. All right. Let's go. Maybe. But then also there were some people speculating. I don't know how much I buy into this, but some people were like, "Oh no, Ezra was acting a little funny. I think maybe he's in with Thrawn." And I was like, "How?"
I don't think so.
It doesn't.
The actor that played Ezra, right, what we got of Ezra, I felt was a perfect rendition, a la what we got of Thrawn. That's Ezra Bridger.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. No, 100%. And I agree. Everything from like the way he looked. I hope that they have him shave so like we can see as far as just like a.
But he looks like his dad.
Yeah. No, absolutely. 100%.
The picture of his family they had in Rebels, he looked just like his father.
Yeah, man. No, and they nailed it. And I agree. I think actually just like the way he spoke, even though it was very minimal, they didn't give us a lot, but I'm right there with you. I was just like, yo, that's Ezra, man. This is so Ezra. And you know what? In addition to that, I would also like to kind of throw out a compliment to Sabine. This was like, I don't know about you guys, but especially my second time rewatching this, I was like, I feel like this is the most Sabine she's been, and like just is kind of I feel like it was really her top performance within the season so far.
Yeah, like her little edgy attitude toward Thrawn before he let her go, and I can see that because I do feel in the beginning it was a little bit too much of Sabine. They really wanted to put it in your face as Sabine Wren, and maybe that's why people like my wife just did not care for her. But this episode, it was enough Sabine.
Yeah. And it's one of those where when you kind of take into consideration, she was, for the most part, probably acting off of a lot of like puppets or stuff that wasn't even there. There was a lot of like genuinity. She kind of felt like the most relatable and the most kind of like a person, if you will, like a character you could really get attached to. So I don't know. I appreciated that performance as well as just seeing other people come to life where it's like, yes, these people are these people. I got to say all across the board, everyone that they brought to life from Rebel so far just really is just on the money.
Yeah. We just need Kanan. Yeah, That's it.
Kanan
Force goes Kanan.
Yes. Guys.
Please go first.
Okay, sorry. No. I wanted to stick to Ezra for a quick second because Balin describes Ezra as a Boken Jedi.
Yeah.
And that's a new term. That's
in the wild or something, right?
Yeah, because it's Jedi that were trained after the fall of the temple. And he calls them Boken Jedi. So Ezra Bridger's a Boken Jedi. Maybe what's his name? Cal Kestis from the video games, that he's a Boken Jedi. So here's why I wanted to mention that for a second. My mind was kind of just scrambling around it. I'm trying to make sense of something that the sequel trilogy erased from the original trilogy that could now work in tandem. Yoda tells Luke in Return of the Jedi that he will be the last Jedi. And then we literally get a movie in the sequel trilogy called The Last Jedi where Luke talks to Kylo Ren and says, and I will not be the last Jedi, erasing everything that Yoda had told him in Return of the Jedi. Now, I could be reaching out, but I'm just going with what I'm getting here lore-wise. Is it because Luke Skywalker truly was the last Jedi, and what will move on forward are Jedi, but Boken Jedi?
Well, keep in mind, didn't he also say Shin asked him? She's like, "Well, am I a Boken Jedi?" He's like, "No, I want you to be more or something." So it almost seems like when he's
a Knight
saying
of Ren.
does it feel like he's looking down on that sort of training? Is my question.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I wonder though. Then so
Like it's
and
impure or
that's
something.
that's fair because it's like it's a variation of Jedi, right? But then I almost feel like you could do that for like, okay, then the Galactic Republic era of Jedi should also be like titled something like they should be, you know, a something Jedi. Because I don't know, like who would you even, to be fair, call like OG Jedi other than of course the first? But then it would seem like they'd all be almost evolutions of them, and I'm cool with that. But it almost seems like if you're gonna title these ones as, you know, Boken Jedi, it's like, all right, what are we calling the rest? Because you guys have been different like across the board as far as history goes.
Yeah, because I think the first iteration of Jedi were the Jedi. So they've always like kind of changed.
Yeah, it was the JED apostrophe I. Yeah. Which I don't know really did, but like you said, it's not they were different per se. It was just that they were the first. So if I'm not mistaken, someone correct us if we're wrong.
Please.
But the rule of three ain't wrong.
Oh, and I have something on Shin. I want to see what you guys think. It's another theory. I love these theories. I'm not taking credit for it. I just heard it, and I'm going to tell you guys. Let me ask, have you guys noticed the restraint and kind of maybe subtle fear that Shin shows when around the Night Sisters?
Yeah, she does not feel comfortable around them,
at all.
At all. Oh, they're weird.
There has been a theory going around that would need some layers on it, of course. But if it's true, I would love it. What if Shin is half, quarter, 1/3 Night Sister? And the reasons he feels uncomfortable is because that Night Sister in her is kind of like this, you know, the Jedi and the Night Sister are like cats and dogs, and they're like in her created this inner conflict, and that's why she feels like that every time she's around them, because she is half Night Sister.
That could be a thing. Star Wars characters being related or whatever, that's not new. That like we've seen stuff like that, and I think that could fit. I'm sorry, Jace, what were you gonna say though?
Well, don't you think that they would sniff that out? Like they were they were able to easily pick up like Jedi, you know, and it's just like, all right, like, you know, so I think they'd be able to instantly tell, just like,
but not Dark Jedi.
Bitch, you one of us?
But not Dark Jedi, Balin. It was Thrawn who found out Balin was a Jedi.
Yeah, no, that's actually funny. Maybe the Jedi stench was just there, and then like once like they looked at Sabine and she didn't deny it, they were just like, all right, maybe it's just that. But then Balin's like, all right, cool, you ain't smelling my fart right now. Like,
dude, I'm gonna be honest. We can go back. Jace, you've seen it, I think, twice or more already. Correct me if I'm wrong, but when they go, it smells like Jedi. They cut to Shin's reaction, not Sabine's, and then they go to Sabine.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh, actually, no, you know what? I'm not too sure. That's something I'd love to go back and try to pick up on that, because I don't remember. I know obviously they put a focus on Sabine, but they might as far as gauge her reaction first. Which if they do, obviously it's like, look, why? You know, whenever there's something that's cut to the like that, you know that stuff's intentional. They do all that on purpose. Someone's choosing to edit it that way.
Yeah.
Yes.
And not the more we're sorry, Anthony.
No, I was just agreeing, actually.
Oh, okay. The more we're getting into this, the more theories coming out as well that Shin is Balin's daughter. Have you guys heard that?
Yeah, I think we may have even thrown that around a couple weeks back or something too. Geez, I feel like that it could be that, but I feel like he would have referred to her as my daughter or something.
Right?
Why they got different last names then?
Well, the name thing in Star Wars can always
yeah,
go
it's just a name thing in Star Wars.
Yeah, but like, okay,
why
look,
Ben Kenobi?
No, but
that's the main one I think of.
There's like a legit reason as to why Leia is Leia Organa and not Leia Skywalker, though. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it'd be
you bring up
cool. It'd be nice concept, but I just wonder, like, maybe he does it so that nobody knows it's his daughter, right? He's trying to like keep that hidden. You know, maybe she is actually Shin Skull, but he's just like, if you know, she seems to be smart enough where he's like, look, if people know you're my daughter, then I don't know, maybe I'm not too sure, right? But maybe it's still that's purposely hidden.
I could be wrong here, but I believe that the word skull goes back to is it Greek or Norse, and it has to do with a wolf that chases after the sun, and then the word hati translates to the wolf that chases after the moon.
Whoa.
So maybe like you said, Jace, if they are indeed related, then it could be a whole I'm just going to protect you, because if they know, you know, this will be a weakness that people can see, and we can't be weak right now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If that was the case, I'd buy into it. And again, I wouldn't have an issue with it altogether. Like, I don't feel anything about what they've shown with the back and forth with them would be negatively impacted if it was like, oh, wait a second, they're father and daughter. And, you know, if they aren't, fine. And if they are, like, all right, cool. That adds another interesting layer.
Yeah, no, his whole backstory can go anywhere at this point. He's a brand new character. I know, sadly, we don't have the actor, but like, as far as maybe like what happened 5-10 years before this, that's all we have to learn. That, you know, we'll see that maybe in an animated series or a comic book or something like that, and that would be where they can establish, yes, it really is his daughter. Yes, it is his niece.
Oh.
Maybe it's not his daughter. Maybe it's like another blood relative or something like that. And that could also explain the difference in the name.
Maybe instead of Snoke calling out to him, you know, and like it's just actually Palpatine or whatever. Maybe Balin is Snoke.
Oh,
maybe he hears Palpatine calling, and he gets called, and then he's like, "I'm gonna deform the shit out of you, and then make you my new apprentice, and then I'm gonna kill your daughter in front of you because that's what dark side people do, and then you're gonna be Snoke for some reason."
I'm gonna make you look like a mangled up baby.
That sounded like Ghostface. That was great.
I'll mangle up baby, and then I'm gonna gut you like a fish. Ah.
Oh gosh,
I cannot.
No, yeah. I hope they don't go even to touch that shit with a 10-foot pole. Please no. Dude, so all right, now that we've gotten both Ezra and Thrawn, right? They're here. They're fun. Yeah, I'm trying as far as to not. Okay,
it's the other half of Darth Maul that's calling out to him. I'm sorry. Just we're going off.
That's not so wait, does that mean that somehow the bottom half of Marok traveled with them to Peridia?
Yeah, so it's the bottom half of exactly. It's the bottom half of Maul, in which the Night Sisters are manipulating to create an undead army. That fart smoke is quite literally farts.
We have to
all of Maul's intestinal gases that were released into the atmosphere when he died. They're drawing all that back in, man. Maul was a gassy guy. What are we gonna say?
What have we become? We've resorted to fart jokes.
This is gonna be excellent. We'll make a compilation, and this will go in the best of.
At least these are very, very, evolved fart jokes.
Yes, exactly.
Amen.
Yeah. But now that we've got the introduction of both of these characters, right? We basically got almost all of Rebels inside of Ahsoka now. Clearly, we are going to get Ahsoka, back in more action next episode. Definitely going to probably see a much heavier hand of her. Probably some interaction, I'm guessing, with her and Thrawn. What do you think is going to be the case? Do you think that Ahsoka is going to like cut off their travel and not have them come back? I personally think that she's going to attempt to stop them, but that they're all going to just come back anyway. except Ahsoka. I think she's gonna be stranded.
Oh, brother. Eesh. That
We
could
have the
happen.
penultimate. This is the penultimate episode coming up now, right? Episode 7. Those are usually pretty big in series. Yeah, I feel like I sense her getting stranded too. I don't know why. And maybe the theory's been thrown around online too, and then I've absorbed it. But I could see that happening. And then it sucks because Thrawn makes it back to the galaxy, and everybody's stuck fighting. Yeah, but wouldn't we need her in place for the upcoming movies?
Yeah,
Yes.
but you can always resort to bringing her back somehow if that's the case.
Mhm.
I don't know if she gets isolated. It's believable. It's credible. I don't know if that's what they're gonna do. I feel like this may have a happy ending. We don't even know if there's a season 2. But what I think, maybe we're 2 episodes away, and I'm gonna say maybe we're a little too far off. But how I think this series is gonna end is that they end up jumping back to the Star Wars universe, Thrawn, I mean, alongside our heroes. And while we think all is lost and war is going to start, the moment that the Chimera and the hyperspace ring make it to our universe, they're waiting for them is the whole Republic fleet, because Hera was able to convince them that they're coming.
Ooh.
And so we think, oh yeah, this is it. Our plan worked. We're gonna start war. They stop the jump. When they get there, a whole Republic fleet with the Ghost in the middle with Hera. We get Zeb in like an oversized X-wing, and they stop them right in their tracks, and they take Thrawn in handcuffs. Little do we know, the Imperial remnants are still at work.
Okay. I mean, that would be the only way I'm so glad you ended it with that there, because here's the thing is I feel like the risk they're running of doing something like that is what they did with Kang, where like people are like, yo, dude, Kang's already 0-2, man, between like Sylvie and now with Ant-Man. So why is he even such a big deal? Like, I don't get how he's a Thanos type level. He's already, gotten beat twice. So if you had this like big epic, like, dude, oh my god, Thrawn's coming, only to literally show up and be just like slap silly at the front door, that would, you know what I mean? It would be a little discouraging, I guess. And it would also make it seem like, shoot, was this really our guy? I even feel like the Imperial remnants might just be like, yo, I mean, like, I get it's Thrawn, but like, didn't he just get his ass kicked the moment he showed up here? Like, and then, so it's just like how you brought up with mine. Totally credible. I could still see that. And it would be dope to like just see Home One, Ghost, all that, like all the ships lined up and just being ready for action. I'd be down for that if it didn't end with the good guys like taking them. If it was like somehow a big old scrap and they end up like having some heavy casualties, Thrawn loses a decent chunk of stuff, but he still manages to get away and then meets up with the rest of the Imperial remnants. Just so it kind of feels like, maybe he definitely like, all right, it was a tough battle. Clearly we took a chunk out of him, but all right, he got away and we didn't defeat it all. So that's a virus that's about to grow.
What if we find out, dude, I'm geeking out right now, an hour and 9 minutes into this, but what if at the last episode, if that what you just said is true and they end up escaping, that Thrawn meets up with Gideon with the mustache.
Okay.
And he says, oh, I heard rumors that you had died. And he goes, that was one of my clones.
Oh my god.
That I can see working. And that would leave us hyped. I mean, if like Thrawn needs to me to be the big bad, and in terms of like if we use wrestling as an analogy, like he's the big guy coming in right now. We can't have him run in and get cuffed. It's like the equivalent of like the big badass wrestler coming in and he just gets knocked the fuck out. And it's like, oh, well, I don't care about WrestleMania anymore.
It happens.
Yeah. So, yeah. But I mean, we'll see which way it goes. Next episode is going to be huge. Next 2 episodes are going to be huge no matter how it goes.
Guys, I'm wondering. Sorry, you got it, Jace.
Well, I'm curious. Just how do you think? Because clearly there's not another ship that they're, from what I believe, that they're about to get on and like manage to just make it into the hyperspace ring with the Chimera. So like and I get that it's an enormous ship too, right? But how do you guys think that they're going to be able to board the Chimera without really, I guess, being either noticed or just allowed to be on there and make it back with everyone? Because I feel like, it's something where I don't know. I would think that Thrawn would have it very intensified security of like, we ain't letting anybody in, but clearly that's the only way back.
Ezra on a Purgle.
That's what I'm thinking of, the Purgle thing. Hey, but that's that's a problem though. Then why didn't he just come home? Well, I guess Ahsoka could be bringing the Purgles there, and then they all
what if they
back.
were killing? What if they were killing the Purgle the whole time? What if that's why when Thrawn says, once the Star Whales come in, destroy them with prejudice?
Well, he says that because of
Ahsoka.
Yeah. Skeletons.
But what if he's been doing that the whole time?
We have the skeletons. It's like a graveyard they mentioned, and so maybe like that would I'm doing it the whole time.
But the only thing is, like, Baylan seems aware of this prior, though. Like, when they first show up and they haven't even landed on the planet, so they haven't even spoken to Thrawn yet, and Baylan's already saying, he's like, the Purgle come here to die. He's like, this is Peridia is a graveyard. So it's like, how would he already know about that as if it's like a legacy that's been told if, like, only Thrawn's been doing it to simply stop Ezra?
I get that. Yeah.
Because otherwise I do like the idea of it just in general, like how ruthless that is. That sounds so Thrawn. That's the only thing that discredits it a little bit, where I'd be like, shoot, I wouldn't know how to answer that then.
Yeah, I think I can agree with you. Yeah.
But nonetheless, the fact that like the graveyard of Purgle, like the fact that it's like a ring around the planet, but when you go in, you just realize it's the dust and bones of Purgle. And then also it just brought up
graveyard like Lion King.
Yeah. Where I just like, dude, so creepy. What a creepy entrance. And it made a lot of people bring up, and I thought it was just a unique thought of just like, why? Like, why do they go there specifically to die? Is it kind of like a salmon thing where like they just know to swim upstream? It's just within their nature or whatever? Or, it's kind of like, what's the purpose?
Well, the real life inspiration for this are elephants. If you guys haven't heard about it, elephants do this in real life. When they know they're about to die, they go to a spot, a specific spot. I don't know if it's like where they were born or like an elephant graveyard of sorts, but they go to that spot to die. Elephants actually do this.
Yeah, and the other ones, I believe, go and visit. It's almost like a mourning thing.
Yeah.
Insane, but that's what happens even with dogs too. And I don't want to get too sad, but dogs have been known to sort of wander off and be left alone.
Yeah.
Well, and then no, I'm not going to go further than that and to run the risk of getting depressed here. But so like,
you say a blue balls joke, somebody quick.
Do you think the intention is then like for the Purgle that Ahsoka is currently traveling with? Is they about to go die? Because it looked like maybe there was some smaller, perhaps even younger Purgle.
I don't think so. I think Ahsoka had to convince them to go to Peridia in the first place. So maybe not. Maybe it is a mission and not necessarily them to go and die.
Because then, like, consider this. Like, imagine, like, right, she gets there. It's already tough enough. The Chimera dips out. She's stranded. She's like, oh, hold up. The Purgle, right? At least the Purgle are here. And then she goes in and then they're all dead. And now she's like, oh, my God.
World between worlds. Did we forget?
Thrawn can take them all captive and bring them back with him. That would be another way to get everybody home.
True, but the only thing is, I mean, he's clearly
and then
mentioning
escape eventually.
Well, but he's making it very clear, like even right now, like when Baylan and Shin go to search or follow Sabine as Sabine searches for Ezra, he straight up says, he's like, our main priority is getting the fuck out of here. And he's basically just like, he's like, look, if Ezra and Sabine get stranded here, no harm, like, or skin off my back. And he's like, and same with your mercenaries, right? If they get stranded, I don't care. So I think that's the only thing is what would be his intention and purpose of taking him prisoner? He knows damn well that it's probably doing himself a favor if he just leaves them there. It's like, how are you going to even do anything about this?
Yeah. We should also mention too, he seems to be loading coffins or something onto the ship. We caught that. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's not that. What's going on there is that was kind of cool. That was sort of going on in the background. What do you guys think?
I think they're Night Sisters.
Night Sisters.
Yeah, and I think that Thrawn's plan as heir to the Empire is of course to overrun the New Republic and create a new empire with Night Sisters at his side, at his beck and call. that's something he lacked very much so when the Empire was reigning, because any force sensitive being were Inquisitors, right? But those were under Vader's rule. These will be under his.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And it would kind of like flip the tides a little bit in his favor. Like, in other words, it's always been the force sensitive people that have been in power, and he's been kind of second in command. It seems as though now it's like he's the one running the show and kind of instructing the Night Sisters. So yeah, I could easily see that as well. You know, as far as him needing them on his side to just make his army stronger, but that obviously just, you know, being very strategic about the use of them. And then obviously, like, you know, look, there is Dathomir in the Star Wars, what, like, our known galaxy with that. So, you know, maybe that's the whole thing. He's like, hey, you know, your people, they got a planet out there. It's not theirs anymore. They got wiped out in the Clone Wars. I can give you that planet back and more. What do you want? Like a quarter of the galaxy? Bet. You know what I mean? And maybe that's just something where that's the deal that's worked out, because maybe the Night Sisters know, like, we can't thrive and survive here. Probably because, just like how Balin was saying, maybe another looming threat that's there or whatever. But that does seem to be the most sensible thing as far as what they were taking. And it definitely, man, that must be a lot of Night Sisters then, because the fact that they were like, hey, it's going to take like 3 days to get all this stuff. It was like, whoa, it's a lot of people that you're bringing along then.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is the ancient home of the Dathomiri, the Night Sisters. I'm guessing it's like almost every Night Sister that was there.
And that's new information, right? Like, we didn't know that.
Yeah, no, and I love that, dude. It makes so much sense, because the whole thing that I've heard is that in this other galaxy that they're in, there's been all this talk about, like, people use the Force differently there. And that's exactly what the Night Sisters do. They use the Force, they just use it differently, which actually raises just a quick little thing that I have been wanting to bring up. I think it's hilarious that Balin and Shin and, like, anybody else, like, when they see Night Sisters using their stuff, their magic, you know, they're just like, witchcraft. Like, they say it all judgmental. It's like, did you not just pick up a rock by looking at it, my guy? Like, how are you going to be so judgmental of them doing their stuff? Like, you know, he like sees Morgan Elsbeth like do the thing to the ball to like make the map, and he's just like, witchcraft. And it's like, bro, you do just as nuts stuff all that's on the regular. Why is this so weird to you?
It's reciprocated though, because then the Night Sisters of Sabine are like, ew.
Yeah, right. Well, and it's so funny to me. It's almost like iPhone versus Android users. It's like, ew, you use the Force differently. Ew, when you use the Force, it's a green bubble, not blue.
It's a fart bubble. Guys, I think there's like one last thing I wanted to mention to you. There have been talks, because I don't think it's been confirmed, I could be wrong, but that this is going around the same time as the events of Mandalorian season 3.
Oh, I know.
And yeah, and so there's that scene in the first or second episode of season 3 of The Mandalorian when Grogu is looking out of the window, and we see one of the Purgles when they're in hyperspace. And so my theory is that that could be the Purgle that Ahsoka is in. But here's the thing. This is the YouTube channel New Rockstars. They're humongous. So people watching this probably know who they are. They had a breakdown of this last episode of Ahsoka, and the host of New Rockstar said that he like scrubbed through the scene when the Purgles are in hyperspace, and there is this minuscule tiny shadow on the side, the right side, that he is theorizing is Mando's ship.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God. If that really is included, that's dope. Because I love the whole connection. I think that already makes plenty of sense. I mean, even in the scene from Mandalorian, it does even look like there is a distinctly larger Purgle opposed to the rest that are kind of like from what you get a view of. So I think that's totally believable. That's nuts. I feel like I want to go back and try and do. Does he show it? Did you watch the video of him? Does he show it in the video?
I was listening to it at work. I did not see it. No, but that's the case. Oh, that is crazy.
Oh man.
One thing when he's that scene that you're talking about, when Grogu, they're just in regular hyperspace. When the Purgle travel, we get more like a rainbowy kind of look. It's a totally different visual.
Yeah.
So
They are in
yeah, but they did see a Purgle, so and I'm hoping that it connects. I think we've all been hoping and wondering that it, about it connecting.
They are in different lanes, so that's one way to look at it. They are in different lanes, and then the other thing is, let's go back to realism here. It's like that whole like the mirage effect when something is so hot, you kind of see like the air is kind of waving. Maybe they're going so fast, they're only really getting residual effects of the Purgle. That Purgle that Grogu's looking at, man, he is light years away already, but he's just getting that residual movement.
Yeah. Okay. No, and that totally does make sense. I would buy into it. I would totally buy into it, man. But I love that, Anthony, you're pointing that out, though. It really is cool that they add those different effects in, like just to showcase that it's supposed to be like a hyperspace,
Something a little different than what we've seen before.
Yeah, exactly. Like I brought up as far as last week, like how they were able to take a hyperspace jump but make it seem so much more epic than something we've ever seen before. I even like the way that they have when they're jumping out of hyperspace. Where in the effect, did you see how it has like the ripple of almost like the blue thunder after it or something after?
Yep.
That was so dope, man. Like they're really the fact of the detailed attention to that type of stuff just really is, man, it's firing on all cylinders. And something to go ahead and kind of start to bring this to more of a close here, because my gosh, I feel like this is one where I'm having trouble as far as not just going off and completely just
there's a lot of stuff
out over everything. I know it gave us so much. Guys, I feel like this is crazy to say, maybe, but actually it circles right back to John. You said something at towards the beginning of the stream that I think hit the nail perfectly on the head. You said last week was the best episode of Ahsoka, but that this episode was like the best episode of like Star Wars, if you will, right? Like as far as with television and everything. Guys, as much as I cannot explain properly how happy I was to have Hayden Christensen back, and I love Anakin as a character, and I thought everything they did live action Clone Wars, oh my God, just write chef's kiss to so much of last week. I like this episode better though, as like an overall like episode and continuation and evolution of the story.
I agree. Yeah. I'm with you.
And it feels almost like bizarre saying that, because like it's tough, it's almost like when you have two really good things and you choose one, you don't want to make it seem as though like that other really good thing isn't still really good. But I mean, if you gotta pick one, I'm leaning towards the direction of this.
It's a tough pick, though, for me, man. I don't know. They almost feel like tied, but it almost feels like an apples and oranges thing, because that other one was so different. And this one was more, like you said, it was like the way John even put it, like this is just more of a Star Wars thing. Like, hey, let's pull the trigger. Let's give these guys all the lore they ever wanted. Let's bring Ezra back. Let's bring Thrawn into this. Whereas the other one was like, I don't want to say conclude, but it might be let's go back and revisit Anakin Skywalker. Amazing. Live action. It was just two totally different things, both awesome in their own right, and that's why it's tough for me to even pick. Oh my God, it's a fun comparison. No, nevertheless, it's just like two awesome things. What do you like better, chocolate or vanilla? They're both awesome to me.
No,
it's a great way to put it.
If these next two episodes knock it out of the park, just get better and better, it's gonna kill me that I might have to put this over Mandalorian as the best Star Wars TV show.
And it's funny too, because I feel like Mandalorian, well, are we talking about like season 1, like vintage Mandalorian? Like I feel like that one started stronger. I think we were digging the show, but we had some more problems with it. Whereas I feel like the last couple streams, we've mostly been like 99% positive.
Yeah.
So that's saying a lot to be like, wow, I think we're going to be topping Mandalorian.
Because John, I've been right there with you, where I've been almost going back and forth about. I feel like season 2, specifically of Mandalorian, is still to this point arguably the best season collectively of Star Wars television that we've been given so far. And man, it's nuts that this season isn't even over yet of Ahsoka, and I'm already starting to question of like, bro, but it kind of is matching that. If you think back. Mandalorian season 2, it's when we got the first live action appearance of Ahsoka, the first mention of Thrawn, to be specific. It was the reintroduction of live action Luke. I don't know why I said live action. We don't really get a lot of him in not live action, but we got the reintroduction of Luke there. But yeah, right. But like there was so much Boba Fett, right? We got Boba Fett back in season 2 and everything. So like it just brought so much, and this just feels like again it's doing that in a very good, different, organic way. It doesn't feel like it's copy and pasting that whatsoever, and it feels like in ways it might, again, John, like if you said, if it continues in this direction, like it might surpass what Mando season 2 was able to pull off, which is a enormous compliment. You know, it's definitely something that's fair to say at this point where this show is on track to really put Star Wars back to where like it deserves to be in just the fandom's eyes. Right, where we're talking about like this, where we can't even manage to collectively keep a good, concise, organized conversation, that we're just all over the place of like, bro, what did you think about the... I love that it's come to this. I love that we're even discussing that we can't even determine which episode we like better with certain stuff. You know what I mean? As opposed to like, here we go, man. Like another thing ruined and another thing they had to do this and Disney-fy this. If this ain't starting to prove that you should just hand over all of Star Wars to Dave Filoni and then just like put your hands up and say thank you in advance for everything you're about to do for us, I don't know what else is about to convince you. Like he's showing all the signs that it's exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, so I could go on and on and on, but guys, I do feel like this is probably an appropriate time to bring this to a close, I guess.
I could go on and on as well, but I know our fellow brother in arms, Anthony, has another stream to go on. Anthony, before we head out, you want to kind of let the people know where you're going to be at in a few minutes if they want to follow you?
Yeah, anybody watching now in 10 p.m. Eastern time, I'll be going on Rainbow Fright's channel. We'll be talking about our favorite horror creatures, so that should be fun. Or if you're watching in a replay, you can check out her channel, and the video will be there, and it should be a fun time. And thanks for reminding me, John. I appreciate it.
Of course. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm supposed to do something else after this.
Oh no, I actually here I have my notes for it, so I'm ready.
That's
I'm
all.
good to go.
Where's your notes for our stream? Where's your notes for our stream?
They're in my head. You see.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Under my hat.
No, all good, man. Because we always come.
They're here. See.
Hold up both at the same time if you could.
Sure. Oh, we gotta go. I think we're out of time, actually. So yeah, 9:30.
Oh, this green screen is having technical difficulties here. I don't know. It's
going out. Let me see.
I'm sorry. I wrote it on green paper, so it's blending in.
Anthony just disappears into a big fart cloud.
Yeah, he just pulls a Maroc and just explodes into a fucking fart.
Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, ba-da-da-dum, ba-dum, bum, bum.
And then I just reappear on the next stream. There you go.
There you go.
Lead right back in.
That's right, because ain't nobody staying dead in Star Wars.
No one.
That's right. That's right.
Well,
all right. Yeah, this is a good one, guys. I think this was a great conversation about a great episode. I am really, really excited for the penultimate episode next week. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. I hope that you find the time to go ahead and come back next week as well. Once again, if you're catching this on the replay, thank you kindly. Go ahead, make sure, once again, everybody drop those comments down below as far as what you thought. Do you agree with all of our crazy nuts discussions here? Or you got something new to introduce that we didn't even get a chance to bring up? With that being said, may the Force be with us.